One of the most gnawing questions for me throughout my Christian life has been, what is God's will for my life? Has that question ever gnawed at you? I think today's passage gives us, in some ways, a clear answer to that, or at least the 30,000-foot view of the answer to that question. Welcome to This Day Devo, Friday morning on a cold day. Happy to have you here with me. My name is Pastor Guy Smith. In our reading plan today, we're reading Matthew chapter 22 in its entirety, and I hope that you've done that. I hope you have a copy of the reading plan. It's in the show notes if you don't have that. It's just continue to come along with us. We're having a good time, and I'm excited about what God is doing in your life if you commit to reading His Word and studying His Word, and thank you for tuning in to this video or podcast, wherever you're listening today. The question, what is God's will for my life? It truly is a gnawing question because we know that God has plans for us. We know that God has intentions for us. But one of the things that we also know is we don't want to miss it. I don't want to miss it. I want to do what God called me to do. I want to figure out how I'm designed and wired and uniquely fingerprinted to make my mark on this world while I'm here. I don't want to miss that boat. So I will say there is a specific will for your life. There is a calling as man makes his plans, but God directs his steps. God has uniquely wired you to do something in this world that no other person can do. And as we submit our will to Him, we can find that. I hope that you're praying for that. But what I want you to hear today, and I want you to see today, is that specific personal question about what you are specifically to do in this life. That's secondary. Why do I say that's secondary? Because you can't start there. You have to start with the greatest commandment. And the greatest commandment we saw in today's reading is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind. This is the first and the greatest commandment, and the second is of equal importance. Love your neighbor as yourself. On all of these, the rest of the law hangs. And so if you're doing these, it all hangs right here. It all hangs right here if I'm loving God with all of my being and loving my neighbor as I love myself. I'm going to get everything else right in obedience. And so I do that. If I do that right by God's lead, then the personal stuff will come into the mix. But the first thing I have to do is I have to give my heart to God. I have to love God. I have to serve God. And then whenever I'm doing that, in the midst of that, God will slowly, or maybe sometimes quickly, in a supernatural way, reveal to you the calling on your life. Because every one of us as a Christian has a calling on our life. But if we're going to discover that calling, the first thing we need to do is say, I need to live my life in surrender. I need to allow God to form and mold my life into His will by how I am loving Him and how I am loving my neighbor. And I learn to love Him by loving Him with my mind, my soul, my body, my strength. I'm loving Him with all of my being. And to do that, I got to get into the Word and I got to know Him. I'm learning about Him. I hope that you're loving being in His Word and learning more about His character, His heart, and His love for you. And that will develop and that will grow. And as you are driving this car down the road, it becomes simpler and simpler for the power steering to engage as God directs you into where you're personally. Oh, I'm supposed to take this exit. I'm supposed to go down into this village. But yet my buddy over here, he's supposed to go another 7 miles and then into that village. Oh, I'm supposed to work here in this city. I'm going to drive over there. Oh, but my buddy, no, he's supposed to go and he's going to work in this city, in this field, in this industry, because he has a personal will over there. But all along, we're both driving on the highway of loving God with all my heart, mind, soul, and strength, and loving my neighbor as myself, and He directs me. So thinking about that question, one of the simple ways that brings this all together is St. Augustine of Hippo, famous Christian theologian from the 4th and 5th century, famous for saying many things, and one of the things that he said was, love God and do what you please. That sounds odd when I hear it on the face. Love God and do what you please. But the follow-up to that quote, the second part of that quote is this: if you love God, and then what he wants will please you. So if you really love God, then what you please, what you want to do, is going to be the things that please him. But it all starts and it all hangs upon my love for God, which drives my love for neighbor. And it's all because of what Jesus has done in me when he cleansed me and set me free and broke the chains of the bondage of sin. Fill in those blanks. Today I learned this about Jesus, and on this day I will this. Let me pray for you. Father, lead us in falling deeper and deeper in love with you. Mind, body, soul, strength, so that we can love our neighbor as ourselves and have you reveal to us day by day your personal will for our lives. In Jesus' name, amen. Go and serve and love the Lord today. See you next time.